Hello, and welcome to the EVEEchoChamber. Today, for day 3 of my new player guide, we will be covering Cosmic Anomalies. I gave a brief overview of Cosmic Anomalies, Anoms for short, at the end of the previous video, but they are important enough to warrant a bit more detail. Let's get started. First things first, new players. If you look at the top left, I am in 0, space. This is dangerous. And also, if you are one of the players that is complaining about not being able to find anomalies, this is probably because you are trying to stay near your station in high security space. And you're not the only person with that idea. Everybody is trying to do that. So all of the anomalies you're looking for have either already been completed, or they're full of people completing them now. You can still find anomalies in high sec. You don't have to go to 0 or lowsec. But you can't stay around your station. You need to go to some of the more empty systems. If you look at my autopilot route carefully, you see that I'm ending in high sec. I went out to Serpentis Prime in 0, which is a trading center, and I just chose another trading center at random, and I set my destination there. Now I'm autopiloting through, checking my Cosmic Anomalies tab of my overview in every system, looking for the sites that I want to show in this video. These systems have many sites available to run, but I'm specifically looking for Scout and Inquisitor sites, because these are the special ones that provide materials for industry. And now as we arrive in this system, I open my overview to check again. Lo and behold, an Inquisitor site. So I pause my autopilot and prepare to warp. It's important to take this opportunity to look at the top left at the security status of the system, and the bottom left, how many people in the system. Because there are 22 people in this low security system, I still have to be very careful. And I should be prepared for the opportunity of PvP, ahead. Pro tip for you here, Scout and Inquisitor anomalies can be blitzed. The term blitzed comes from EVE Online, and it refers to sites with warp gates, or acceleration gates, where the gate can be activated without killing the enemies in that room. Now as I'm about to arrive at the anomaly, we call this landing on grid, I check to see if anybody is here with me, and then if you remember from my last video, I have to change my overview to show all so that I can see the warp gate in order to enter the site. As expected, there's 2 people waiting here, but because I'm a big boy who doesn't afraid of anything, I go in anyways. There's a strong possibility they don't know about warp gates, and there's an even stronger possibility that they don't know that the next room can be blitzed. So I activate the gate and warp through. As I'm landing on grid in the first room, I see that all of the NPCs are still there, and there are no player ships here. This means either no one has come in here yet, or another player that knows this room can be blitzed is already in the next room. Demonstrating how to blitz, I just activate the warp gate, ignoring all of the NPCs. Let's see what happens when I arrive in the second room. Okay, all the NPCs are here still. Now this room, you do need to kill the NPCs before you can open the containers. These containers, you can see Serpentis debris, are the ones that provide the special items used in industry. And once I've arrived in the room where I'm actually going to be fighting, I like to change my overview to the loot tab so that I can loot any wrecks that appear as soon as they appear to prevent my loot from being stolen, assuming another player comes in. And unlike EVE Online, when you change your overview tab, the ships still remain displayed in the top. As a side note coming in during editing, if you look at my weapons, you see I have 2 different range types of railguns. Please do not do this. This is a very bad idea, and I only did it because I wanted to show you why it's a bad idea. But the interface is not cooperating with me. The area in the center of the screen where it says jumping to, that normally changes and updates every time you tell your ship to do something different. If you tell it to approach, if you tell it to orbit, and whatnot. And I have 2 different ranged weapons equipped, because I wanted to show you the problem that occurs if you have auto orbit and 2 different range profiles. I'll try to explain the problem now, but because I don't have that visual indicator, it might make it a little bit confusing. When you have auto orbit turned on in the settings, and this is the default setting, when you destroy a target, the next target is automatically attacked, and when your weapon begins that attack is when your orbit is set. So if you have two weapons with different ranges, whichever weapon begins its new cycle first determines your orbiting distance. So even though I have two short-range guns, one long-range gun, and it would be logical to go to a shorter range anyways, the game will still do the long-range orbit if my long-range railgun happens to be the first one to activate on the next target. Now let's skip ahead a bit. Tell me in the comments if you would prefer to see the entire site being run. I resume playback here because we get another arrival in the site, and happiness might be ahead. Now because of my mismatched weapons, which we call a shit fit, he might actually be able to beat me in a fight, but he doesn't know that. But I'm about to complete this site, and I know that his smaller, faster ship has a very good chance of stealing my loot, so I want to lock him up. Despite the warning, you will lower your security status if you fire on another player in low security space. I also know that this is the last wave of NPC enemies. After I kill these, the boxes will be lootable, so I turn off my guns and stop firing until I see what our little friend is going to do. Well, that was disappointing. I guess he heard of my leak PvP exploits. Alright, let's fast forward again. Now the site has been completely cleared of NPCs, and we have another new arrival who might try to steal my loot. Let's see what happens. So our loot boxes are near these fancy satellite things. Sometimes they also are near destroyed ships. And our opponent's in the Corax now. Again, lock him up. Don't worry about the security status just yet. You see we successfully loot our first box. I loot it very quickly because I don't want to give him the chance to steal it. These are rig blueprints and metal scraps, which are used in manufacturing. Here I click on Observe to look at his ship. I'm trying to see which of my loot boxes he's approaching, but I don't see any trails behind his ship, any propulsion trails, so I think he's just sitting there. We successfully loot our second box, again the same, rig blueprints and metal scraps. Even though we can loot from 10 kilometers away instead of 2,500 meters like in EVE Online, you can definitely see that it's important to have propulsion modules. Can you imagine how long it would take me if I did not have an afterburner on this destroyer? At this point, he's either AFK, or he's trying to bait me into attacking him first. The only reason he would do this is he thinks I'm a noob, because in low security space, if I aggress him first, and then I go to a Stargate or a station, the Stargate and the station will blow me up. We got box 3, on to box 4. Doesn't look like he's trying to fight or loot or anything. We have another new arrival to the party. This one's name is too long, you can't see a ship name, but I know from the picture that that is a Merlin, the Tier 2 Caldari frigate. But the joke's on them. We get the last of our loot, and we'll skip ahead to the next site. You see, now we are in a different system, though not too much further along our autopilot route. I got pretty lucky. And we are doing a Sancha Scout Anomaly. I also pointed out the security status in the top left. Now we are in 1.0 space, which means the site will be less difficult and the loot will be less valuable. And there's no chance of PvP. Or is there? Arrive on site, change overview to all, activate warp gate, land in the first room, activate warp gate, blitz through. We see all the NPCs are still here, so either somebody else knows how to blitz, or nobody has been here yet. We land on grid and see an executioner surrounded by wrecks, so I know he's pretty close to finishing the site. This means I don't want to waste time looting these frigates. Instead, I want to start approaching the boxes, because I know he's much faster than I am. All the NPCs are dead, the boxes are unlocked, and the race is on. 1 down, 2 to go. If you were fast enough, you saw that this one contained datacores instead of rig blueprints. Datacores are used in reverse engineering, and getting blueprints for ships. Here, as I was looking for the next box to approach, you saw me playing with my camera. I'm trying to get the enemy executioner in screen as well, so I can tell which one he's going for. And just now he popped on the screen, that white triangle at the far left. At first it looks like he's also racing towards the same box as me, but then I get a closer look at him, and I see that he's going to steal at least one box from me no matter what. There's no way I can get there in time. And so you can see, even in 1.0 high sec where there is no PvP, there's still PvP. And we get the last box. 2 out of 3, not bad, especially for letting him do all the work for us. Alright, this has been your introduction to Scout and Inquisitor sites. Thank you for watching. This has been the EVEEchoChamber. Fly safe, and welcome to New Eden.